An entire Indian state is grieving, a loss too painful to put into words, the loss of a child. In West Bengal, an 11-year-old girl was raped and drowned, a crime so senseless, so cruel, that it has shattered the quiet of her community and ignited fury across the region. Her name should have been in celebration at birthday parties and at school assemblies, not whispered through tears at makeshift memorials lined with candles and marigolds. She had her whole life ahead of her. First crushes, exam nerves, dreams she had even dared to speak out loud. And in one horrifying night, all of it was taken away from her and from everybody that loved her. The pain did not stay contained to one family, one street, one town. It spread like wildfire across West Bengal as thousands of people, parents clutching their own children a little tighter, neighbours who once felt safe in their own homes, poured onto the streets, demanding justice for a little girl who can no longer demand it herself. But in the chaos of grief and rage, tragedy multiplied. A mob consumed by anger and desperate for anyone to blame, turned on an innocent man and killed him. One senseless act of violence answered with another. And as if the horror could not deepen any further, police confrontations in the unrest that followed left more lives lost, adding to fresh grief to a state already drowning in it. Now protests continue to engulf West Bengal, not just over one unbearable crime, but over a system so many feel has failed them again and again. Parents are asking the hardest questions. How do we protect our children when the world feels this unsafe? Why does justice in India move so slow, so uncertainly, while grief moves so fast? And why, in the desperate search for somebody to answer for this, did more innocent blood have to be spilled on top of a child's? There is no easy answers, only grief and anger and a community standing at a painful crossroads, desperate for something, anything to change. Vigils are being held in her memory, voices are being raised in her name. And somewhere in West Bengal, a family is trying to find a way to simply breathe through the pain most of us can only imagine and would never wish on anybody. This is not just a headline scrolling past a screen. This is a little girl should still be here, laughing, learning, growing up. This is a community screaming to be heard, a state searching desperately for justice amid its heartbreak. And as candles flicker in the dark in the corner of homes, one question echoes across the state, simply and devastating in equal measure. How many more children have to be lost before something is finally done to change this?
Justice!
As the sun rose over West Bengal, it revealed a state still reeling, streets lined with grieving mourners, makeshift shrines glowing with candlelight, and a community searching for answers no single headline can fully capture. Security forces have been deployed in an effort to restore calm, but for many residents, calm still feels like a distant promise. People here describe a raw, tangled mixture of grief and anger. Grief for a child who should have been protected by the state, and anger at a system many feel let her down long before that terrible night. Community leaders have pleaded with residents not to let unbearable pain spiral into more violence, even as the loss of an innocent man to mob justice weighs heavily on the community's conscience. Investigators say the search for accountability continues, but for families watching the unrest unfold around them, patience is wearing painfully thin. across social media, across dinner tables, across the halls of local government, one question keeps resurfacing tonight. How did it come to this? A child's death has become a mirror for so many parents, reflecting fears they already carried quietly in their hearts. Fears about safety, about justice, about whether enough is truly being done to protect the most vulnerable among us. West Bengal stands not only in mourning, but in painful reflection. And as more details continue to emerge in the days ahead, this remains a story not simply about one unspeakable crime, but about a community's raw, unfiltered demand to be seen, to be protected, and finally, truly to be heard.
In the days ahead, all eyes remain on West Bengal, on whether the justice can move swiftly to match the grief of a state mourning, and whether calm can return without more lives being lost. Investigations continue putting together what happened, while community leaders work to calm anger and quell any further violence. For one family, there is no simple way forward, only the unbearable task of living without her. For the rest of you watching from afar, there is a responsibility to keep asking and demanding that her story is never allowed to happen again.